Sixth-year biology students sitting your exam in June 2026, you need to know all things active transport, which you cover in the diffusion and osmosis chapter, but it links to photosynthesis, respiration, human nutrition, excretion, several other chapters. So first of all, to understand active transport, let's do a bit of a recap on our definition for diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of molecules from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Now remember, diffusion is passive transport because the molecules are moving down a concentration gradient. They do not require external energy in order to do that. So imagine water runs downhill. It runs downhill very freely, not requiring energy. However, active transport is going to be the movement of molecules from a region of lower concentration to a region of higher concentration with the use of energy. Now imagine this is like water trying to go uphill, which isn't going to be happening. So what happens is active transport requires a membrane, because in the membrane, special proteins are going to help to carry the molecules from low concentration to high concentration. But the cell is going to require external energy for this, okay? Now, where does the energy come from for active transport? The energy comes from cellular respiration. The breaking down of glucose, which we know is going to happen. So glucose breaks down in cellular respiration and an energy transfer molecule called ATP is produced. ATP then stores energy that can move from the mitochondria to other cells in the body that will need this energy, where it will break down and supply the energy needed for active transport. So if we look at an example of where active transport comes up, which has been asked in exams, we're looking at a plant. Okay, so we're looking at a plant. Our plant is in the soil. The roots are protruding down into the soil because roots grow downwards with gravity, positive geotropism linked to plant responses. Now, what's happening is in the soil, we're going to have the likes of magnesium ions, which are going to be needed to form chlorophyll, or nitrate ions, which are going to be needed to form protein. But if we zoom into the root for a second, the specific region of a root that is going to be responsible for absorbing is the root hairs. Now the root hairs, because they're part of a cell, they're a root hair cell, they are going to have a membrane, so tick. Now imagine outside in the soil, we have low concentration of magnesium, low concentration of nitrates. In the root, we have a high concentration of them. But we still need to absorb those ions because they're needed by the plant. So what's happening is the ions are moving from low concentration in the soil through the membrane, the cell membrane, to a region of higher concentration in the root. So how is the root hair adapted in order for active transport to occur? It has numerous mitochondria to supply energy in the form of ATP that's going to be needed to move these molecules. It also has thin walls, they occur in large numbers. And then what's going to happen is the minerals can be moved into the cell by active transport. If we think of a location in a human where this happens in our digestive system, glucose being absorbed by the epithelial cells, or this can happen in the nephron. Glucose is going to be reabsorbed into the blood. So just remember, active transport going against the concentration gradient, requiring a membrane and requiring external energy, which is formed or which is supplied by cellular respiration. So make sure you know active transport really, really well and where it occurs for your Leaving Cert biology paper in June 2026.